If you're like me, you've been wondering what the big announcement at the Hellfire Gala could possibly be now that the new X-Men team has already been revealed. For months, it seemed like the big marketing draw of the Hellfire Gala was supposed to be the new X-Team reveal, but after Marvel kind of suddenly and unceremoniously unveiled the new members in like a basic social media post, it left me thinking, well, then what's the point of the gala? Admittedly, I've been a sucker for all of the fashion that we've been seeing, so even if the event is just being used now as like an excuse to get the characters all dressed up, I mean, I'm personally fine with that. But that can't actually be it, right? There needs to be some actual story relevance to come out of this night, and I'm sure that there is. The Hellfire Gala is actually going to be a much bigger deal for the X-Men than just a fancy ball. I mean, I'm totally guilty of only really thinking about this in terms of the costuming these days, but in fact, this is going to be like the first event that's meant to showcase Krakoa's sovereignty, and it's really here to push the mutants to the political forefront of the world and be seen as equals among other world powers. We've seen some preview pages now that a lot of Earth's mightiest will also be coming to the party. The guest list has names like Captain America and the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and Iron Man, and even Doctor Doom will be there. Marvel has also teased that some celebrities will be dropping by, like Conan O'Brien and Eminem? Although, why none of these esteemed guests look like they're dressed for the party feels like a total affront to all of the effort that the mutants have been putting in, but again, the fashion is besides the point of this night. So, with all of these hotshots paying Krakoa a visit, and with the new X team already having been revealed, then what's this big announcement gonna be? I think that it's going to be that the X-Men are expanding their ranks out to Mars. This seems to be the most probable theory if we look at the clues that have been given so far. First of all, the name of the one-shot tie-in to the Hellfire Gala event is called Planet-Size X-Men, and I don't think that that's just like a weird coincidence. X titles have always had all kinds of like crazy adjectives over the years: uncanny, astonishing, amazing, and of course giant size, which this one is an homage to. But planet size X-Men feels like a very specific word choice. When it was first announced, I thought the title was just supposed to be like a metaphor about how far the mutants' reach has come and how they want to be seen as like a global force, but now I'm thinking it actually has more to do with the X-Men forming their own X-planet. One of the covers for Planet-Size X-Men features Iceman, Storm, Jean, and Magneto floating on what I think looks to be like red rock from Mars' surface. The background behind them is also painted super red, which I think must be a reference to Mars being nicknamed as the Red Planet. This cover, more than anything, really hints to me that the X-Men are planning to do some interplanetary relocation. Even just the power set of the four characters featured here leads me to believe that they might be working in conjunction to make Mars a habitable planet. Iceman's thermodynamic abilities could help generate some like water flow, while Storm sets up a functioning atmosphere. Magneto here could be like manipulating the electromagnetic spectrum to give its planetary core some sort of power boost. And Jean, well, Jean is the emblem of rebirth, so I'm sure she'd be able to give some way to find Mars new life. If these characters do find a way to set something up on Mars that is like self-sustaining and doesn't rely on constant mutant energy to be fed and keeping like an atmosphere active, then there really is no reason why the mutants couldn't just set up shop on Mars and claim it as their own. I think the X-Men moving to Mars was something that's been planned for a long while now anyway. Ever since Dawn of X began, it felt as though there has been like a big focus on space and planting Krakoan gateways in very hard to reach areas like planets. Sword is a book that was launched that is all about the X-Men warding off space threats, and I really like it, but I'm going to admit it kind of felt like it was random and came out of nowhere. I didn't really understand why the X-Men were taking on this new edict of fighting space crime when they were still establishing their presence here on Earth, but if the plan all along here has been to move them out to Mars, then Sword as a title really does start making a lot more sense to me. The X-Men will have wanted to have set up and established their outer space armada before setting up their formal colony out there on Mars. We already know that there's a Krakoan Gate planted on Mars, and nothing has really been done with it yet at all in the comics, so I really think that all of this has just been Marvel planting the seeds of leading up to this great big intergalactic new adventure. So if this theory is correct, and the X-Men are planning to expand their reaches to the stars, then who will be at the forefront leading this expedition? My money is on Storm. She has recently left the Marauders, and it doesn't really seem like they give us a clear indication of what she's going to be getting up to next. The cover of Marauders number 20 shows Storm looking out into the horizon, and memories of her past kind of form like a constellation in the stars, and she's looking up at them. So everything here to me points to her heading off into space. With Storm being noticeably absent from the new X-Men team's lineup, and with her now leaving Marauders, it's very weird to me that Marvel would have one of their most popular characters not featured in any of the 12-ish X titles that are currently on the market. Marvel even hinted earlier that 2021 was going to be a really big year for Storm, but so far we've been given zilch in terms of things to expect from her, so I can't really think of anything bigger than giving Storm her own planet to reign as a goddess over. This could tie into the overarching Reign of X concept that the current stories are supposed to be jiving with, and it could be the first step in the X-Men really establishing themselves in places beyond Earth. The X-Men in space is really not a new concept whatsoever. One could even say that space and the X-Men are intrinsically bound and tied together forever. The most famous storyline, of course, is the Dark Phoenix saga, which featured the X-Men fighting for Jean Grey's life against Lilandra and the Shi'ar Imperial Guard. Everyone there eventually made nice, and the Shi'ar and the X-Men have been allies more than they've been enemies, but the X-Men in space idea certainly didn't stop there with them. They've revisited space every few years, and it feels like they certainly have enough enemies out in space to merit a space-centric title, but isn't that what S.W.O.R.D. is meant to be anyway? If Storm does lead a new frontier out to Mars, I wonder if she's going to get her own book to accompany this new task, or if she's going to play some sort of role in S.W.O.R.D., or even in the soon-to-be relaunched X-Men series. Maybe Mars will be the base of operations for the new team. Even though it feels like the market is already super saturated with X-books, I wouldn't be mad if I heard that Storm was getting a solo series too. So that's what I think this big Hellfire Gala announcement's going to be. I think it will definitely have something to do with the planets and Mars, and that Storm will be at the center of it all. Please feel free to let me know what your theories are about this though. I think that this Mars one is pretty popular by now, but I'm always curious to know what everyone else is thinking too. If you like this video, please feel free to check out some of my other stuff. I do a lot of reviews of old issues that might pique your interest, especially if you're a newer fan and you want to learn more about the X-Men's history. You can also feel free to follow me on social media or hit up my website, greatxmentations.com. Thanks so much for stopping by today and for checking out this video, and be sure to come back soon for more Great X-Mentations.